get into the NFC playoffs, though. San Francisco, like we just said, they're playing the Ravens this week. It's going to be their hardest matchup of the entire year. We both said that this team was going to lose last week to Seattle, or to, wasn't Seattle.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, thank you. And we both said they were going to lose that game. And then they came out and showed us that we just need to shut up when we talk about when they're going to win or lose a game. So yep. I'm not going to give a prediction on who's going to win between the Niners and the Ravens, because that was a good one, and when we get to that, well, I'm not doing it.
I'll do it. I'm not afraid.
I was about to say, the Packers got the Giants this week, and the Vikings got the Seahawks.
Yep.
And you're looking at an easy schedule versus a tough schedule there. Daniel Jones is a wild card. He could throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. He could also throw for 3 or 4 interceptions. We don't know. The Vikings-Seahawks game, that's going to be a killer one to watch because it's just going to be good. The Saints, they won on Thursday, but right there at the end, they almost let the Falcons get back in it with 2 successful onside kicks in a row. Technically 3, but 1 got called back.
How crazy was that?
Oh, man. That kid, Koo, is definitely going to be, who is his name, is definitely going to be a good pickup for somebody this offseason.
Insane.
And then we got to talk about the Cowboys. They lost to the Bills.
Did they?
Yeah, imagine that. And I took and I kind of thought that this was a trap game for the Bills, but I thought it was still very, very winnable for them. And they did exactly what they should do. And now it's up to the Eagles to have the easiest schedule for the rest of the season and try to take that spot from the Cowboys. They got Miami this week, and Miami's still trying to do something. They're just trying to lose. Let's be honest. If somebody does good, they take them out of the game. Did you see that, by the way? Can we talk about that?
What's that?
Fitzpatrick, leading him down the field, has a great drive. He comes back out the next drive, and it's like a minute and a half later. All of a sudden, they call him into the concussion protocol tent. For a hit he took on the last possession that they had scored on. So literally on a drive where they needed him to drive down the field and potentially win the game, he was on the sidelines instead in a concussion tent. And he was asking people when he's coming off the field. He's like, "Why am I coming off? Like, what's going on here?" So if you couldn't get more obvious with trying to lose games, Miami, I think that was kind of it right there. A lot of the national media was making fun of that. I think that happened 2 weeks ago. National media was just having a heyday with it. And I think it's just everybody's trying to tank. It was tank for Tua, but we don't know what's happening with him now.
Yeah, it's going to be for Burrow now, for sure. I think Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL draft, in my opinion. I think Tua's going to be a value pick, though. I still think he's a first-round draft pick, in my opinion. And I think Miami is still going to go for him. Remember, they have 3 first-round draft picks. But I don't think they're going to have to use their first overall draft pick on him. I think they might be able to chase a guy like Chase Young and work and solidify their defense and then also still get 2. I think this actually works out in favor of Miami.
Do you know what this kind of reminds me of? Is when Teddy Bridgewater was slept on.
Yeah.
I think that's a great comparison.
Yeah, that's a good comparison for sure.
If Tua comes back from this injury, because the only time I've ever seen this was Bo Jackson, and Bo Jackson medically retired from both sports after that.
Right, but I don't know if you realize there was a couple of medical putting on the tweets, and they were talking. They said, "Hey, this is nothing like the Bo Jackson injury. This is 30 years later. Bo Jackson was playing on this injury. Tua took care of it right away. The surgery was successful. They said that he's going to be fine. So there'll be obviously some rehab moving forward, but they say that he should be back to 100% soon. So that's a good sign. Obviously, we don't want to see that happen like Bo Jackson's injury. But like they said, 30 years ago, Bo Jackson didn't understand the extent of his injury, and he played on it, and that's what made it worse. So I think that I think it's almost unfair for us to compare it to Bo Jackson. Obviously, that's just the only one we know how to compare it to. But I think that I think they're going to be fine moving forward. I think we're going to see 2 of the NFLs, but I think his value has dropped for sure because of the injury, not only his hip but the ankle as well. And I think that he'll still be a first-round pick, and I think Miami's going to still go for him. And I think it's going to be a value pick. I think it's only going to make their team better moving forward.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we weren't expecting to talk about the draft right there, but we definitely got into it talking about Miami.